Well, the entitlement of this particular story happens to be the Disavowed Manual. And we talk about manuals as they are to one individual or another. They were prepared by oftentimes one association and another in people. And they were striving in their association to, with all their expertise, all the ones with a lot of knowledge, to place in a written form their experience, their a priori may-do condition that they knew would provide a thing that was safe and sound according to all the knowledge that they had, the schooling that they had, all the laboratory work that they had done in testing material and groups of elements in a building to make sure that to the best of their ability that the thing was going to be safe enough if the one used the manual that they had prepared. And so the correlation here, as it was, the master and the apprentice continued at a particular location, and the one had the condition defining some quality and a couple of beams that came together at one edge of a building and another, same building, and they met at the corner, and then the entrance to the building was some distance back, and then there was some kind of a hip beam or something that went out to the corner to collect then the reaction from the two edge members as it occurred. And so as it was, the apprentice, and he had his own thought about it. He didn't know what it was. He'd never seen the thing before. And he had a manual. It was a manual by the American Institute of Timber Construction Association. And he pulled the thing out. He came out with some kind of connection. He spent days on the thing, hours and hours he spent on this connection to connect these tree-part elements together. And as it was, I think one of the elements was the timber members was a cantilever, and then the other two elements kind of attached to the thing. And it was said to be a thing that would then support then the condition. The connection was to tie the elements together and support them in a way that they could be then said to be stable and within their let stresses and the connection also. And he spent a lot of time on the thing, and his master actually looked at the thing and said, no, that's not it. That's not anything that we want to do for our particular quality here. And so what he did is he did the drafting himself, and then the apprentice then looked at the drafting and said, well, all that is a couple of bolts connecting one timber element to another one. And he knew that according to the manual information, the thing wasn't going to work for any design specified loading for a working stress condition. But once again, it was a thing that the structural engineer, based on all of his knowledge and all the years that he had been designing buildings, stated that was the A-OK, that's all right condition, and that's what was provided. The manual connection that looked different, that ones didn't understand or just said wasn't really required, wasn't used in any way, shape, or form. And the tried and true condition, a couple of timber elements going to a hip beam connected together with a couple of bolts, and that was said to be the thing that was acceptable in the society. And so the one said then, was it really the true path in knowledge to be trusting the condition and element in manual? And some people said, well, I thought that the manuals did provide a very good instance in all the knowledge provided in summary form that the one could use and have some confidence that the thing was going to work out A-OK. But sometimes the manual condition just wasn't accepted, just disavowed. That particular condition was too different. Ones didn't know what it was. They'd never seen it before. And the one simply said, no, we're going to go with what we know. And the thing that we know is not just structurally sound according to our own knowledge, because we never had seen one break, they would have to say, but also visually pleasing, something that was a little bit nicer and easier on the eye than some connection designed using some manual condition. So we talk about then that very quality and the statement and acceptance. And the one said, well, the acceptable condition, tried and true, societal statement. And when you talk about that condition, you talk about then the different thing through all the laboratory testing that some architect of record, engineer of record may do versus what's said to be the tried and true condition of the architect historian. And we talk about then societal conditions in of themselves and what actually is stated to be the true condition that people have in their life. One's talk about in a society where it's always, well, we think it's going to work, it's a different thing, we aren't sure, but we think it's even better than what's already there, versus the society that says, well, we're the empirical people, and our empirical knowledge, and some people say that's all an empire is, the condition using empirical knowledge, it's already said to be tried and true, for a particular condition, no matter how right or wrong it happens to be eventually, one place or another. Some people say that empirical knowledge as it is, if it's blatantly used anywhere, then there are certainly places that it was not going to be applicable. But for the particular quality and so-called vernacular architecture, for the empirical condition the ones had found to be the tried and true for their particular location, very difficult for anyone to say that it wasn't good enough based on the thing that they knew from the history that they had for hundreds and thousands and in some instances even tens and thousands in years. So we talk about then the condition and acceptance, and oftentimes some manual condition, it looks too different, it's just not accepted. And that particular connection, as it was, just disavowed. I don't know what the one did with it, threw it in the trash, and it was a number an hour though that one had spent. Sorry to tell, it was a me, myself, and I portion thereof. And the one said, yeah, that's maybe kind of frustrating to the apprentice to spend so much time, work it out, fit it all together, and have all the working stresses be all within the allowable load. And the one says, no, sorry, it's going in the trash. Okay, the one said. The one did what the one knew, being the structural engineer of record, architect of record, and put the thing together based on all the knowledge that the one had to do so. Historian knowledge, tried and true, never had a problem with it for the quality that had occurred over many years, and the other one just gone in the trash. It happens. And so the one said, how much easier it is to say, hey, tell me what to do, I'll put it on the piece of paper, whatever it happens to be. You're the one that has all those decades and knowledge in doing something, and that's what I'll do. And some people say, along that particular path, when the ones know the condition, absolutely tried and true, then the apprentices have to be convinced that it's just acceptable no matter what else they might think. And it's a very difficult thing to ever say is not good enough. The empirical, tried and true, no matter what portion in a societal judgment it actually happens to be. So some people say the older the people get, the more conservative they are, the tried and true, the thing that they know to do without any doubt at all, which you may include for some people, keeping your door locked, your blind closed, and only going to pre-qualified destination by pre-qualified attended life. You know that the place is acceptable, everyone's accepted there, no one's harming anyone where you go, and that's the tried and true, and people say there's no other kind of life to live, based on the accepted condition in society. So the instance of that connection, that's just an instance in someone using the different manual. No one had ever seen it before. No one knows if it was going to work or what. He didn't know, but based on all the association knowledge that occurred, he was confident it was going to, but he had no idea. It wasn't going to laboratory testing. It was something designed from a manual, that he had to trust all the work that was done by the association instead of the one that had decades of knowledge and a priori experience, knowledge, I'm trying to say a priori knowledge, that would say that the way that he did something was plenty good enough and no one was going to argue with the fact that it was so. Hey, that's okay. That's all right. When one knows and is confident that the thing is going to work out because it always had in the past. So there you go. As far as that goes, that's the statement in the condition in the Disavowed Manual. Another record by Squeaky Clean.